School choices back on the table this year after a similar bill was struck down last year, but officials changed going into the 2022 session. And one local band was invited to celebrate Memorial Day in the nation's capital, but needs some help to get there.
And showers tonight, but that's not our big concern moving forward. I'll have the latest from Future View straight ahead as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
An expansion to the controversial school choice bill that was passed by the General Assembly in 2021 will go before the legislature this year. Now, that bill was struck down by a Kentucky judge after it was passed, but officials say, well, they've made changes. The bill in part aims at making money available for students and parents to get tuition assistance for private education. Jim Stratman talked to one of the sponsors of that bill.
Kentucky lawmakers are back again with another version of a controversial school choice bill. This one expands on a version that narrowly passed last year and was ruled unconstitutional by a Kentucky judge. Senator Ralph Alvarado from Winchester says this new expansion has support across the Commonwealth, and he believes that now is the time to expand the choices that parents and students have.
And public schools do great. You know, we have a lot of kids who do very well, and parents love their public schools, and you know, public schools are wonderful. I represent a lot of excellent ones in our district, but it's not always the best choice for every child and for every parent. This is something that if you poll people across the country and in our state in particular, you know, Democrats support this, independents, Republicans.
Desiree Caudill is one of those people.
I struggled to pay our tuition. It was a difficult decision that I had to make during COVID-19, whether we were going to be in person, whether we were going to be in virtual learning. I was still working. I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, and I had three kids that were going to be in virtual learning, two of which were too young to stay home by themselves, and so it put me in a predicament of whether or not I was going to work.
Officials say the bill is about access and opportunity to education, making sure that parents don't have to make a hard choice between whether they pay their bills or have their students get the education they deserve.
Well, children are our future. That's our future of Kentucky, and getting them in the right learning environment, it's so hard to put a price on that, and having to choose whether or not you're going to pay bills or invest in your children, like that's a question that's a decision no parent should ever have to make.
If you want to be fair about things, I think you have to be equitable and give as many people that same opportunity as they can.
Reporting in Frankfort, Jim Stratman, WKYT.
North Laurel High School band was invited to play at the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. North Laurel was the only band in the state of Kentucky invited. Band members are fundraising money through events and are looking for donations and corporate sponsorships to be able to make the trip in May. Band director Billy Carpenter says he believes this is the first time in a few years a school from Kentucky has been invited.
It's an invited event, so we were reached out to last summer to ask if we were interested in participating. They had seen some videos of our marching band online and wanted to have us represent Kentucky in the parade.
Well, the goal is to reach $18,000. We'll have more on this and how you can donate tonight coming up at 6.
Overcast skies continue to move through the mountains this afternoon. Here's the thing. We're keeping an eye on not just shower chances for tonight, but perhaps even a bigger wintry chance as we head into the weekend. I-75 in London, we've had peaks of sunshine during the day today, but the big story has been the cloud cover along with those above average temperatures. We are all socked in with the clouds here in Perry County, Buffalo Mountain Camera. Right now sitting at 50. That's several degrees above where we should be this time of year. Most of us at least in the upper 40s. To low 50s out there. Watching a few clouds and showers, mainly clouds more than showers. Some of this probably not even reaching the ground as we head into portions of the Big Sandy, as well into portions of the Cumberland Valley, likely seeing a few sprinkles as you head west of Hazard down toward Harlan at this hour. So we're going to continue to see the potential for that as we head through the nighttime hours tonight. Mainly cloudy and for many dry, but still watching the potential for a stray shower that could end as a snow flurry as we head into tonight with temperatures dropping into the 30s. That cold spell late tonight and into tomorrow is going to set the stage for what could be an eventful weekend weather-wise. I'll have the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you. Conflict on Capitol Hill as lawmakers consider two voting rights bills today. The Freedom to Vote Act looks to make it easier to vote. Election Day would be a public holiday. You could register the same day as an election, and there's a guarantee you could vote by mail. Plus, people with past felony convictions would be able to vote in federal elections again. Getting these bills through the House is one thing, but advancing them in the gridlock Senate isn't very likely. Well, Britain's Prince Andrew faces possible trial in connection with his former friend Jeffrey Epstein. A U.S. judge has turned down Andrew's request to throw it out, a lawsuit filed against him by one of Epstein's alleged sex trafficking victims. The prince's lawyers said this morning they have no comment on the ruling. Holly Williams is at Windsor Castle outside London near Andrew's main residence with the potential risk to him and the royal family.
This case is going forward, and it's going forward now.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says this may have been Prince Andrew's last chance to get this civil suit dismissed.
The last thing that Prince Andrew wants and that the royal family would want is further publicity in this degrading saga.
His accuser is Virginia Giuffre, who claims the prince sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions when she was a teenager.
Prince Andrew should be panicking. He needs to be held accountable.
He denies it, has never been charged with a crime, and says he has no recollection of ever meeting her, despite this image of them together. Giuffre alleges she was trafficked to the prince by Jeffrey Epstein, and lawyers for Prince Andrew argued a settlement she reached with Epstein for $500,000 in 2009 shielded the British royal from legal action, but the judge ruled the case can proceed. As a UK resident, Prince Andrew could refuse to cooperate.
We never had any sort of sexual contact, whatever.
Though that tactic may be disastrous.
Ultimately, if he refuses to give evidence, if he does not participate in this case, what would happen is the plaintiff would move for a default judgment against him for $500,000, $1 million, $10 million, whatever it would happen to be.
He was once regarded as a handsome playboy prince, but his name is now indelibly stained by his friendships with convicted sex offenders Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. On the streets of Windsor, the town dominated by the royal castle, some people are angry.
Everybody feels for the Queen a lot in this circumstance. It is her son, and of course she's going to want to protect him and her family and their privacy, but that doesn't mean you get a get-out-of-jail-free card either.
Ricky Kleeman believes Prince Andrew's best option is to try to reach a settlement with Virginia Giuffre, stopping the case going any further. But that depends on her.
I think Virginia Giuffre is determined to have her day in court, but still, there's always a magic number. For most people, there is an offer that cannot be refused unless the money means absolutely nothing to you. And perhaps for Virginia Giuffre, perhaps the money is irrelevant.
Virginia Giuffre's lawyer said on Wednesday that he believes she is not interested in a purely financial settlement, suggesting that she may only agree to settle this lawsuit if Prince Andrew acknowledges that he's done something wrong. Holly Williams, CBS News, Windsor.
Buckingham Palace announced Thursday the Duke of York's military affiliations and royal patronages have been returned to the Queen. According to a royal source, he will also not use the title His Royal Highness in official capacity. His patronages will be given to other members of the royal family. Well, the Australian Open will cap ticket sales at 50%. Organizers say the move is to ensure the health of fans, but ticket holders will still be allowed in if more than 50% of seats in the venue were sold for particular matches. Fans will also have to wear masks and obey to social distancing measures. COVID-19 cases are increasing in Australia. The Australian Open starts January 17th and runs through the 30th. Scientists in Europe say they've developed a new eco-friendly bait to kill mosquitoes and help stop the spread of malaria. Now, researchers found a molecule in the blood of people infected with malaria that releases a smell that attracts mosquitoes and entices them to drink more blood. By mixing that key molecule with the plant-based toxins in beetroot juice, scientists say they've set off a feeding frenzy. Thousands of blood-sucking insects are dying within hours in a project aimed at killing mosquitoes that transmit malaria.
So if we can use something which is as cheap and as scalable as pesticides, we can actually eliminate them.
Well, that doctor and his team say their environmentally friendly pesticide is harmless to people and allows them to target only mosquitoes. And researchers say the bright pink juice can be seen inside mosquitoes' stomachs so they can track which ones have taken the bait. Scientists are hoping to adapt the bait for commercial use. Well, a young boy in Letcher County has turned his hobby into, well, an unofficial business. 13-year-old Colby Ambergy began baking when he was just 8 years old. After an opportunity to sell his wares at the farmer's market, he decided to take to social media, seeing a great response. Colby's Aunt Karen says over the years, her nephew has really refined his craft.
From some of the ones that he started with to now, you can see his growth. You can. You know, cooking in our family is a big thing. That obviously, that's the thing that, you know, we kind of build our life around.
Well, Baker says her nephew hopes to someday attend culinary school. Our Chaz Jenkins will have more baked goods coming up at 5:30. Well, coming up on First at 4, warnings about fires caused by space heaters, what you need to know if you use them.
And you may need to use them as we head into the weekend because we're going to be tracking the potential for more wintry weather. I'll have those details on the way.